welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing some 2026 planning. It's about 12 days away or something like that, very soon. And so I think it's about time that we discuss what went right in 2025, what could we do in 2026, and this video is aimed to sort of set out and show you how I plan my year, because I've already made a video on how I plan my month that is probably going to be linked in the description. But I think a year planning video is due for quite a while. I was going to do it last year, but to be fair, 2025 has been a doozy. 2025 has been crazy. I feel like every single year is wild for a lot of people, but 2025 for me was very, very crazy because I managed to do a whole bunch of things, namely the Clarity Journal, which, by the way, is linked in the description. I've been told I don't yap about it enough. Basically, if you want this whole situation in a journal form and you want to be able to write into it and you want to be able to have evening prompts, morning prompts, this journal is the journal for you. It's a physical product that I created whilst I was in Japan, working in Japan, and I sort of turned it into a business, and now it's a running business, and I'm really, really proud of it. But 2026. First and foremost, we should wrap up 2025. What am I leaving behind in 2025? That's a prompt that I would urge all of you to ask yourself. What are you leaving behind in 2025? For me, it's disappointment. There have been a lot of people in my life that have been consistently disappointing me. Expectations that I had or the wishes that I had are just not there. And I'm turning that disappointment into compassion. I'm growing and learning and realizing that maybe some things are just not meant for me. And that's also okay. But I am leaving behind disappointment because disappointment is a feeling that you have yourself. Disappointment is something not that other people make you feel. It's something that you have as a reaction to other people's actions. So if somebody disappoints you, you can either choose to be compassionate and be like, oh, it's okay. I guess I could have I expected something, but they chose something else, or for them it's not important to do this, or they don't want to, so forth, and that's okay. You should be focusing on yourself and focusing on what is most important to you. And disappointment is not a part of that, or at least that's a lesson that I learned this year. And second, what am I proud of in 2025? 2025, I did a lot of things. I made Clarity. So this is my first physical product. I've made about 5 digital products before, including a cookbook, a personal trainer program, and a whole bunch of crazy stuff. But now I have a physical product, and I'm really, really happy that you can even buy it in stores. I had to get an OSVČ, so I had to figure out all the paperwork of all that, and sort of setting up a real life business for me was a really, really big step. And I'm really, really proud that I managed to do that. Secondly, I graduated high school and I got into Charles University, which was my dream school, and I was super, super, super happy. And I'm still really, really proud of myself for being able to do that, because that was a goal that I really, really, really worked hard for. Thirdly, I became a Mishimata certified yoga instructor. I do plan on making some classes in 2026, though I don't necessarily plan on being a yoga instructor for my profession. I'll see where the path takes me. I'd like to experiment with it, but I'm really, really proud that I managed to do that, because that was also something that I needed to study for a lot. And the fourth thing that I'm most proud of is working in Japan for 2 months. The 2 months that I spent in Japan were very, very, very emotionally draining, because I was working every single day almost. I was in the heat. I was doing the same job every single day, and it wasn't something that I was really used to. But I did learn a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about people and people's boundaries. and sales and business, and I also learned a lot about my culture. I ran almost every single morning. So it was a very big learning experience for me, but I'm also very, very proud that I managed to survive those two months, because I will say it was more of surviving than thriving, I believe, in my own eyes. Now, to the part of planning 2026. First thing that you should do is set intentions. What is 2026 about? Is it relaxing? About hustling? Is it a mix of the both? What are you trying to focus on? For me, for example, my intentions are not to entertain things that drain me. If something drains me even a bit, I don't want to see it in 2026. I want to be able to have the agency to tell myself, hey, this takes up way too much of your brain space and it doesn't bring joy or positivity into your life. And I've noticed a pattern of going into this sort of spiral, and being sad about things that I don't really need to be sad about. So I am letting go and not entertaining things that drain me in 2026. The second thing is focusing on filling my cup. I am a very driven person, a very goal-oriented person, and I have been focusing on my goals and making sure that everything happens the way that I want it to happen, because I've set these goals throughout 2025, and I have past me to thank for setting sort of these big goals, because if you set these big goals, or goals in general, you kind of have to focus on yourself, because you set those goals for yourself, and you then allocate time to those goals, which you're allocating time to yourself. So it is a form of self-focus. But especially when it comes to love, or even friendships can be draining, or companionships with other people, these sorts of companionships can really, really take away from you. And you need to be aware enough to realize what you want to be focusing on. What is filling your cup? Even when it comes to, for example, school, I know a lot of people who want to, or have been wanting to start a YouTube channel, or wanting to start a business since they were 13, but they've been only focusing on school grind. Then they kind of get mad because they're like, oh, I have school, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I get it. School is important, because school is a stepping stone, and gaining knowledge is a way that we grow. But also, put yourself first. Even if it was, and if I was to make it like a hyperbole, if I was to make it in a way obvious, imagine that you had school till you were 40, okay? And you could work, and go the normal flow. And then at 50, you'd have an amazing job, a guaranteed amazing job. And that's what most people did. And you were just on that path, and you're like, oh, I have to finish school because everybody is finishing school. Would you rather, and this, I'm not recommending you drop out, right? But would you rather go to school and then have that perfect life at 50? Or would you rather drop out at, let's say, 20, start actually doing the work that you want to be doing, or putting the effort and time into the things that are going to bring you to where you want to be at like 25, because that is a realistic time horizon, rather than spending 30 or 20 years of your life being like, I don't have any time. You create the time. You prioritize the time. You have the option to, even, for example, when you come back home from school, let's say that you are in school for some reason from 9 to 6 p.m. Even if you come home at 6 p.m. and from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. you're working on your business, your YouTube channel, whatever, that's time that you can allocate, you can prioritize. Luckily, and probably most of my viewers are not parents or don't have any person that they have to take care of immediately, and my heart goes out to those who do. But we as students have so much time on our hands, we don't even know. Like, when I see my mom and her friends, and I see how little time she has with all the things that she's doing, even though right now she's like figured herself out pretty well, but I know a lot of people who do not have that time, and they cannot change anything because there are even legal implications and whatnot. We as students really do have time, because technically you can even skip school. If you skip school and you manage to learn all the stuff that you were supposed to learn from that 9 to 6 p.m. in 2 hours, you have all of the hours left, rest to do whatever the hell you want. And of course, this isn't for all schools, but you get what I mean. So focus on yourself, fill your own cup, prioritize yourself, because you have one life. And why would you be spending it filling somebody else's cup? The last intention that I have, building my 20 to 25 lifestyle. What does that mean for me? So basically, I would love to have a home, a cat, a business that makes me specific, or like some amount of money that I can travel with, that I can pay my rent, pay my utilities, buy clothes, and have money to invest after. That's the type of life that I want to be building. And I want to have a partner, and I want to be able to go on cute little dates, and I want to have a car and a driver's license and all this. And I want to be building this life right now because I want to live it as soon as possible. I don't want to have to wait till I'm 30, or even for those who are saying, oh yeah, I'm going to do that when I'm 25. It's going to take you 5 years to get there. So the sooner you start, the better. So right now, for me, my intention for 2026 is really building that life. For that, I could also jump into, from setting intentions, is setting concrete goals. For me, in 2026, I have 6 goals. Firstly is passing my exams with great grades. This is very important for me because it kind of ties into my last goal, which is being able to go on Erasmus, which I would like to do in Q3 and Q4. I know that being able to do Erasmus, which is the sort of program where you can go all around Europe and study in different universities, which my university offers this program, even though I'm actually thinking of doing something like going to Hong Kong or Switzerland instead. I'll see how that goes. I know that either way, I need to have good grades and I need to pass my exams. And for this year, this semester, I set myself 64 credits, which normally you're supposed to do, the norm is about 45. So I have 7 exams that I'm going to have to survive in January. So it's going to be a very tough month, but I know I can survive it. I know I can do it. So that's one goal that I have. My second goal is to get my driver's license. I do not know how to drive, and I think that, again, with the building my 20 to 25 lifestyle, I want to have a car and a license to that car so I can actually drive it. The third goal that I have is getting a Japanese N3 JLPT certificate. I have had a long-standing sort of battle with Japanese because I always learn something, forget something, learn something, forget something. And now I have like holes in my language speaking ability where I understand Japanese, I speak Japanese, but then there'll be like a stupid, dumb word that I just don't know because I've been learning sort of randomly instead of having this systematic way and being prepared for example, like an exam. And also having that N3 on my resume, I feel like could really, really open some doors for me. And I just like being more of a knowledgeable person and getting certifications. I feel like I'm going to become the sort of certification junkie after getting that yoga certification. I'm just like, ooh, what other certifications can I get? But anyways, yeah, my third goal is to get a Japanese N3 JLPT certificate, which I also recommend in 2026. Set some kind of certification goal. I feel like certifications are a really good goal to set because even if you don't necessarily get the certification, the journey there, it gives you a lot of sort of knowledge. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but the journey there is also worth it, even if you don't do it. And you can always retake the certification. And instead of like college or something where if you fail an exam, it can be life-changing situation. If you fail a language certification, you can just retake it and it's not even that big of a deal, but it's a big enough of a goal for you to actually put in the time and feel a little bit of pressure in order to actually get to that goal. Number 4 is to make 80,000 Czech crowns per month. In my universe, that's totally plausible. I know to some people that might sound crazy, and that's all right. You go live your life. And if that inspires you to also be able to have around maybe that number or higher. I know people that make 1,000,000 crowns a month. So I think 80,000 crowns a month is totally, totally manageable. It's important to set goals for yourself where you feel like they're big, but not that big. And for me, 80K, that's enough for me to be able to pay a nice rent in the center, to have expenses for utilities, food, a cat or a dog, and to be able to go on trips, investments, and all that. So I want to get back to that number this year. I've been focusing way too much on, or not way too much, but I've been focusing on school, the yoga certification right now. That was taking up a lot of my time, and now I know I'm going to be focusing on the exams and the driver's license. But right after that, Q2 should be ready, because Q2 is going to be hustling, but I'm going to be preparing like the pillow and the foundation of Q2 and Q1. Fifth goal is to be able to do a handstand. I've been wanting to do a handstand for a really, really, really long time. I always kind of put it to the side because it's not really a useful goal. Like, it's going to be cool once my earring just fell off. It's going to be really cool when I'm going to be able to do a handstand, because I think it's just kind of like a weird flex where I'm just going to be like, hi, watch me. And then I'll do a handstand. I want to be able to do a handstand. That's just one of my goals. And the last one is the Erasmus. Those are my goals. Now, to get back to the steps for you who may be listening, Step 2 is setting micro habits. So micro habits, as they sound, they're small but substantial if you do them consistently. The key here is consistency. So for example, daily yoga. It's a small habit that I sort of set around the start of the year. Actually, I've been doing it a lot longer, but I didn't do it like exactly every single day. Now I do it literally every single day. My day does not start without doing yoga. And I can see how well it's affected my ability to move. I feel more energized in the mornings. And I think daily yoga is definitely something that I would recommend. Number 2 would be gym 2 times a week. Many people think I go to the gym like every single day. I do not. I go to the gym twice a week, and it's perfectly adequate. As long as you're in the gym for example, I'm there like maybe 2 hours, and I like do a full body, whole situation, and then I do daily yoga, and then I run in between those days. But the gym 2 times a week really, 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 really does help. Other micro habit is listening to the news whilst coffee plus makeup, or whilst coffee plus doing my makeup. I've gotten into listening to iUdalosti, which is the Czech news channel, because I study media, right? And for me, it's very important to be knowledgeable, to be aware of what's current, because that's a lot of the things that we're sort of discussing in class. And I feel like it's something that's also going to come in handy, especially if I'm going to be looking more into finance, looking more into business and whatnot, which is something I also want to do in 2026. Then morning prompts. Morning prompts make so much sense because, at least for me, because when I'm doing my yoga, I think to myself, okay, I need to think of a morning prompt, because I always think of my morning prompts. Every one of my morning prompts is from my head. And when I'm thinking of them, I reflect on the day before. And reflection is one of the greatest things that I've implemented into my life right now. Because I think about the day and I think, okay, what have I learned? What's something that I could do this day that's going to be different from yesterday? And it really, really, really makes you look at days and look at your calendar and actually see progress and see sort of like a linear line, or take something from every day and not let it just pass you by. Then, obviously, 10K steps. I have that as a micro habit. But a micro habit that I want to set this year is setting and working to sales goals weekly. So each week, or maybe like each month, I want to have sales goals that I work towards. Because even, for example, this month, I set myself some goals for how many clarity journals I want to sell. And I noticed that literally just because I set those goals, just because I went, okay, I want to sell this many clarity journals, I sold a lot more because I actually, was focusing on it, and I saw the number and I was like, oh, I haven't really sold any. I need to focus on this. Also, I have to put in my earring. It's pissing me off. much better. My third step is set checkpoints. So we've all heard of Q1, Q2, Q3, but I don't think that most people implement it. For example, in the Clarity Journal, I set it up like this, where on the first page you have year to glance, and then in the middle, the lines are a bit more thicker, or at least I think so. Sort of quarters, or if you want to do it in thirds or eighths or whatever, but I feel like quarters or thirds are the best way to do it, because it's enough time for you to put stuff into it, like put big goals, like, I don't know, a driver's license or two, but also not too big where it's like, it's very broad and you can't focus or check in on if you're on track. But it's very, to me, one of the most greatest things that I ever started doing was checking in and also doing monthly recaps. If you do have the Notion template, the Clarity dashboard, you'll see that each month is monthly planning template and then a monthly reflections template. And you can build up on that and reflect on each month and build goals each month. It's important to do, again, the reflection, because if you don't reflect on what you did, then how can you actually actively and well plan what you're going to do in the next month? So reflect on each month and reflect on each checkpoint. Have checkpoints that remind you, hey, like for example, it's the end of the month. Let's see what I've done in the month and what I'm going to do in the next month. And now, last but not least, step 4. Step 4 is plan for joy. I know a lot of people who are just kind of hustling, just working. It was kind of me, high key, at one point. But like, I'm getting through that part. I'm getting past that. I've grown. But it's important to plan for joy. What does that mean? Plan trips, dates, girls' nights, hangouts. Our lives are not supposed to be checkboxes. They're not supposed to be just these huge goals that we set for our lives, and that if we don't get them done, we're going to be absolute failures. Also, just to give a shout out to Beck Stewart, who came up with this sort of step system, which I absolutely loved. Like, I had something very similar, but this idea of plan for joy is something that I directly took from her, and I am so grateful that she reminded me of this, because our lives really aren't supposed to be these big checklist box goals, and the goal in our lives should be to be happy. And if we don't plan for happiness, it's very easy for it to slip out of our hands and sort of forget about it and just be focused on the hustle instead of focusing on having a driven and goal-driven life, but also living it in a fun way. All right, y'all. That's it for my video on 2026. I hope this video was useful. Hope you took some inspiration maybe from my goals, and maybe the steps and the prompts were useful. Please check out Clarity Journal. I think you're going to love it. And I also have the digital Notion template linked below, so you can check that out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a super productive and super 2026, and I hope to see you in my next video.